Hey, what's up? My name's Samuel Leeds, and I'm going to interview somebody who has become financially free, making £7,500 a month, and he's done that by watching other people's stories that I've interviewed on this channel. So hopefully by watching him, you'll be able to do the exact same. Welcome onto the show, Emmanuel. Take me back then. What made you in the first place sign up to the crash course? What kind of got you into this?
I mean, I was literally on YouTube, right? Just Googling it, like researching how to make money online, extra cash. And then I stumbled across one of your videos on YouTube. It was actually the video where one of your students had secured his first HMO and you went with him to collect the key. I think it was in Middlesbrough.
Okay.
But you went, you saw the house, you did the figures, and
I don't even remember that video. I've been to so many houses.
I can imagine. Like that was I remember thinking like, who the heck's this guy? And who the heck's he's going with him with his student to the house, picking up the keys. I was hooked. And I literally I remember like binge watching, you know when you watch loads of Netflix series, I just watched loads of Samuel Leeds videos on YouTube, binge watched all of them. And I was just hooked. I needed to know more. I then found your book on Amazon by Lauren High. And like I know I'm a reader anyways, but I'd never read a book so fast before in my life. Like I think the first chapters when you spoke about church and how church's view on your wealth that you were building through property and how that conflicted out, I was like, nah, this is nuts.
You related to that?
Related to that. And I literally read through your book within like a day or so. Yeah. And I was like, I needed more. And then you had, at the back of the book, you had like the crash course information about it, signed up to the very next one. I was at that point where I didn't care where it was. I was going to be there. Luckily, it was in Birmingham. So I went to the one, I think it was in June, July.
Is that this year or last?
Last year, yeah. So I went onto the crash course, VIP, I was at the front seat. I was hooked, literally I was hooked. And then I remember you called out, you said, if you want to be a millionaire, come on stage now. And I ran up on stage. And funny enough, when you interviewed Jordan and Jess, they were also on stage as well at the time. Wow. And then you told us to kind of like lead everyone in a dance move. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't.
You don't?
But it sounds like the kind of thing that would happen.
Yeah, like it literally feels like it was yesterday. Like I've taught everyone else to do the Millie Rock on stage, but I just remember just leaving the crash course just like rejuvenated. I felt like, because up until that point, I'd always wanted to be financially free. I just didn't know how. Yeah. But after the crash course, I left thinking, okay, I've got a plan. Yeah. Like it just became real to me.
Have you stayed in touch with anyone from the course?
Yeah, Jordan, Jess.
And they're now also financially free.
Of course. Like we met at the PIN event in Coventry. And we're planning to meet up again in a couple of weeks' time.
That's great.
Yeah.
So talk me through what happened then after the program. So you've now watched the videos, you've read the book, you've attended the crash course. Yeah. What happened then?
Okay, so when I left the crash course, I remember thinking, okay, right, there's so many things to do here. You spoke about how to secure single-let deals, high ROIs, you spoke about HMOs, you spoke about service accommodation, you spoke about lease option. It's quite a lot in those 2 days to take away. And for the first couple of months, I was kind of just confused, I would say. Confused. I didn't know. I wanted to do all of them. And then, thankfully, your Winners on a Wednesday, you kickstarted the Winners on a Wednesday. Yeah. And I think you started with the gentleman that had lease options that he was securing them while I was on the train to work and back. Yeah. So I was like, okay, let me look at lease options. And then I was looking into it, getting as much information as I could. And then you interviewed Leslie a couple of weeks after. And then she went into detail about service accommodation. And I was like, okay, I think I like service accommodation. So I started to find books that I could find on it. And then you and your brother, Russell, you did a service accommodation video on YouTube. And that kind of just nailed it home for me. Yeah. And then the icing on the cake was your interview with Leah and her mom. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, this is for me. And so over that was about a 2-month period of me learning, watching your videos, you putting out content, just kind of helped me to focus on one thing. And then I decided service accommodation route was the route I wanted to go.
That's great. So you kind of, at the crash course, had your eyes opened, 100%. Got the strategy for financial freedom, got the contacts, the network, the passion, the understanding. and then you continue to go back and continue to binge watch more videos.
100%.
And really utilising all the free stuff, because the
great.
thing is, there's a lot, there's a lot of information out there for free.
For free.
And I know there's paid programs that we do where we help people with the implementation.
Yeah.
But I don't believe you've even paid our company a penny. You've done all the free stuff.
Yeah.
You've read the books, you've attended the seminars, you've watched all the YouTube videos, you've watched the interviews, you've connected, you've networked.
Yeah.
What was your first deal and how did that happen?
So my first deal was just before Christmas in Manchester. So up until that point, I think Cheryl mentioned a book called Go for No.
Yes.
Which for me changed my life. Like there's a few books, so the Bible, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then Go for No.
Yeah.
Because up until that point, I was getting a lot of rejection in terms of trying to secure a lease option, trying to secure HMO. When I narrowed it down to focus on SA and started ringing up agents, ringing up landlords on Gumtree, Spare Room, just loads of no's, and I kind of just took a little bit of a relaxed view on it. But when she said Go for No, and I read that book, and I realized that failure is actually a part of the process.
Yeah. That
changed the game for me. Like it just changed my mindset, because before that I always thought once you fail it's over. You know, especially in the Nigerian culture, if you're a failure you get labeled a failure, and you know parents tell parents and rumors start going around. But that book changed my whole concept of failure. It was no longer that the more you fail, the further away from success you are. It was more, the more you fail, the closer you're getting to success. So literally from October, I was hammering the phones, rejection. But I knew I was getting closer to my very first yes. And then 1st of December came, and I got my first yes. So I couldn't quite believe it at the time, but I was like, okay, keep my cool, don't get too excited, it's not over the line yet. Then we scheduled a viewing to Manchester. Went to Manchester, had a look at the property, told them what I wanted to do with it. The landlord was a portfolio landlord, so he didn't necessarily care too much. He just wanted some security in his income and security in the maintenance of the property, which is all of the things I was promising we would provide.
Yeah.
And then the deal was done, so we secured it for a 3-year deal with a 12-month break clause.
That's fantastic. And Go for No, you said that was a real pivotal
game
moment.
changer.
And that was mentioned by another winners on the Wednesday.
I know. Like it's
and that's one of the books that we read on the Academy as well.
All right.
So it's great that you read that. What does it mean, Go for No?
So what it means is, so on the book itself it says yes is the destination, no is the journey.
Yeah.
So going for no is pretty much meaning when you get a no, you don't take it as the end. In fact, you should actually go for it. So what I did, right? So I would have a target. I want to get 20 no's in a week.
Yeah.
So literally, even if I got a yes, it didn't matter. My goal wasn't to go for yes. My goal was to secure 20 no's. And before I knew it, like especially after I got my first deal, I started getting more yeses than no's, and it started to become a problem to get no's. So that's
it's
what
a
it means
brilliant.
to go for no.
It's a brilliant philosophy, because you haven't actually failed. Because if you get 20 no's and you don't get a yes, rather than thinking, I haven't had a yes, you can celebrate the no's.
The no's, exactly.
And it's focusing on the activity rather than the result. But we know that the result will come when we do the activity.
Yeah.
So,
it's a complete mind shift.
Yeah.
To celebrate rejection, celebrate no's, but it's so effective.
And then you got your first yes in December.
Yes, sir.
So how much money did you have to put into that deal?
So the very first deal, I was quite fortunate because the property itself was just brand new, been refurbished.
Yeah.
So literally I had to put about 2.5 grand in terms of brand new furniture. And then I got a painter to come and paint in some feature walls, because I really wanted it to kind of stand out above the competition.
It has
it has to, because especially in Manchester city centre, there were so many listings on Airbnb and Booking.com. So I wanted to kind of stand out, and I realised feature walls helped it to stand out. And so overall, the first deal I had to put a deposit down. The rent itself was 900.
Yeah.
The deposit was about 1,300. I had to then pay fees, because at that time there still was fees you had to pay, because things change now in June.
Yeah.
But yeah, so overall about £5,000
Yeah.
all in
Okay.
for my first deal.
And
yeah.
and that money, that 5,000, was that from savings? Did you borrow the money? What happened?
That was from savings.
So
Because up until that point, I had worked and saved up a lot. And before the crash course, I was in the process of actually buying a first buy-to-let property. But then when I got to the crash course and learned about all these strategies, I kind of held off.
Yeah.
Actually, tell a lie, I already paid solicitor fees and everything, but I decided to kind of cancel that transaction, and I lost all the money for the fees, but I didn't care because I realized that rather than put 30 grand in one house and be stuck with one house, if I can nail this, I can, 5 grand in one property, and then before you know, I have 6 properties with that 30k that I control. It just made more sense to do it that way.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I lost about £2,000 in terms of cancelling the transaction.
Yeah.
But I don't regret it.
You looked at the big picture rather than the small
I
detail.
looked at the big picture because it just made sense to me. Why would I put 30,000 in one house and just be stuck with it, and then save up again, and then get another house when I can have 30 grand and I can control 6 properties?
Why did it take you coming to the crash course to figure that out?
I had no idea up until that point because my mum has one property, and she's had that for years now. She's been trying to save up to get another one. So that was the knowledge I had up until that point.
Yeah.
Get one property and just save, work, save, and get another one.
It takes a long time to become financially free doing it the traditional way.
100%. Because, my mom still is not financially free at the moment.
Are you financially free?
I'm financially free, but I'm working towards getting my mom financially free.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
really, really good.
Yeah.
So, first deal, you put 5 grand in.
Yes, sir.
How did that pan out?
That panned out really well. So thankfully we caught the Christmas market. So by the end of, so we were live for like 14 days in December, and then we made over £1,000 profit. So after I paid the management fees, I paid the bills, paid the rent, the lease on the property, still walked away with £1,000, and I was like, this was half the month that we managed to capture. Bear in mind, it was the Christmas period as well. So we did charge more over the Christmas period, but we did walk away with £1,000
That's incredible.
in the pocket.
So what about the following month and up until now?
So up until that point, it's pretty much been a deal every month.
A deal.
So a new property every single month.
So you've got a total of 5 deals?
No, I've got a total now of 9.
9? That's more than... No, it's not. We're a long time away. I'm still...
So yeah, it works out average about 1.2 properties a month, but
So just a deal a month consistently.
So
So that first deal that you got in Manchester, you made £1,000 in half a month.
Yeah, half a month.
How much are you making just on that one deal on average each month?
On that one deal, we're making more than £1,600 in terms of clear profit.
Every month?
Every month.
That
because
is a good deal.
It's Man City Centre. Whenever there's home games for United or Manchester City,
Yeah.
the hotels triple the price.
Yeah.
We're tripling our prices as well.
The thing is though, £1,600 for that one deal.
One deal.
And you put 5 grand in.
Yeah.
That for some people is financial freedom. For some people that would replace an income.
Yeah. I have to be honest, when I got my second deal back in January, I was pretty much financially free back then.
How much are you making now then in total with your 9?
So let's go off last month. So in total we made just over £15,500 for the month of July.
That's incredible.
After all expenses, we walked away with over £7,500.
£7,500 profit last month.
Profit. So after all the fees, bills, everything, we walked away with £7,500.
And that's a pretty standard month now for you.
That's standard month, yeah.
That's incredible.
It's nuts. It's crazy thinking about it, like saying it now, yeah.
You must be pretty impressed with yourself.
It hasn't sunk in yet.
Yeah.
It still feels like, okay, all right, that's now because I've got goals. My goal is to secure 20 deals, 20 properties by the end of the year.
Yeah.
So I've not kind of given myself a chance to celebrate it yet.
Okay.
I'm just recycling the
I
money.
think you should celebrate it.
You think I should celebrate?
Yeah.
I don't know how to celebrate it.
Well, for a start, being here is a celebration.
True.
I mean,
True.
1 year ago, to this day, was when you were watching Leah and Cheryl, Leslie, Ian, thinking, fingers crossed one day.
One day.
Did you know that you were going to be successful?
Yes.
Oh, tell me about that.
I remember speaking to my mum a couple of weeks ago, and I've told her about my journey, And she brought me back to when I was in secondary school in year 8. So what I would do, I'd save up all my dinner money for that week, and we would go to Farm Foods. Farm Foods is not that big now, but I'll buy like packs of Malwams, Starbusts, and little nylon bags. So over the weekend, I kind of like put it all together, little bags of like 20, 30 bags, and I'll go to school, and I would be selling those bags to students.
Yeah.
And we started to get some cash. I started to recruit people like in the years below. And so that lasted for about 2 months, and I got shut down. My head teacher found out, literally.
But in school they don't encourage that kind of thing.
They don't encourage that.
Do you think they should?
I think they should, but they won't.
Why is that?
Because Robert Kiyosaki says it best. They want to keep everyone poor.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just the reality of it.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of people that are really successful in business, when you look back at their history, they used to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
I used to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Wash cars, sell magic tricks.
Yeah.
All kinds of buy things and sell them for more expensive to the school kids.
I think it's in our DNA.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that.
Do you think that our training, you've been through our training, do you think that can work for anyone? Or do you think you have to be a very special kind of person?
I think it can work for anyone. However, you have to be committed to it. It's you can have the blueprint. It's like I can show you the blueprint. I can show you the journey, show you the map. This is how you're gonna get there. But ultimately, you have to get off your butt and do what's necessary.
Yeah,
you've got to do the work. And I think it's because the way you've had all the information, like you said, is accessible. You just need to go out and make the calls, make the connections.
Yeah.
Just put the work in.
Yeah.
And I think anyone can do it. Like it's pretty simple.
Anyone can, but not anyone will.
Not everyone will.
Yeah.
Not everyone will.
What's your strongest reason why then?
My strongest reason why is my son.
Yeah.
My son is 2, Israel, and I don't want him to grow up needing anything. I don't want to spoil him, but ultimately I want to be in a position where I can spend time with him. I can give him the best education, the best life, the best house, and just set him up. And even my wife as well. She's another reason why. Just wanted to, because your upbringing plays a part.
Yeah.
And we didn't live rich. But my mum worked her butt off.
Yeah.
She worked her socks off. And seeing that, I wanted to just not work like that for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I just wanted that freedom.
So Israel's 2. You've got a wife. You're living in Northampton.
It's
property side. What's next?
What's next? So my goal is to hit my target of 20.
20 rent-to-rents.
20 rent. Yes.
And you can become a billionaire doing rent-to-rents.
I know. But my goal is once I've got 20, I want to then use that to fund wedding venues.
Okay. I
want to go into the wedding venue industry.
Cool.
Because I do have I have a wedding photography business as well now. And I kind of have a good idea of how much venues I'm making.
See, some people might be thinking now, look, Emmanuel, you're making $7.5 grand a month.
Yeah.
With 9 houses.
Yeah.
9 properties. You want to get to 20. You're going to be making like 15, 20 grand a month.
Yeah.
Why then set up another business? Why not just relax? Be at home. Like,
I can't. It's just for me. What makes me happiest, or what makes me the happiest, is when there's progression.
Yeah.
I can't. If I'm keeping still, I'm not happy. Even though financially we might be good, the fact that we're not doing anything will make me depressed. I always got to keep on progressing.
Is it like the growth that you're addicted to?
The growth. That's what. So in terms of celebrating success, what we mentioned earlier, for me, one of the best feelings is when I get a key. Doing the key dangling.
Yeah.
That for me is like the most accomplishing feeling.
And that's how I spotted you, because you've looked at any of our advanced training. So I don't see you at the dinners, I don't see you at the advanced training programs, but I do see you on the Facebook group.
Yeah.
Dangling keys. Usually every 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
There's a video or a picture of you with some new keys.
Yeah.
And after seeing that again and again and again, I know my team, we reached out to you and just said, you've got to come on the show.
Yeah.
What would you say the biggest takeaway that you've got from both your training but also your experience? Like, if you had to leave watchers, or if you were advising yourself from a year or 2 ago, what's the biggest lesson that you've learned in all of this?
I think for me is getting the education, getting a mentor. Because for me, it took me 6 months before I got my first deal, which I feel like if I had mentorship at the time, it would have been quicker.
Yeah. You've done all the free stuff.
Yeah.
Do you regret that? Do you think you should have done some advanced? Because you know what? It's really interesting. When I started out, I invested in myself a lot, but I also held back at times.
Yeah.
And then sometimes by the time I was like, you know what, I can afford it now. And then I did the program. I thought, damn, I wish I'd done this a year or two ago.
Yeah.
Like, do you regret not doing more training? Do you think you would have got there quicker?
I would have got there quicker. I do regret, but also the experiences I went through were necessary.
Experience is the best teacher.
Experience is the best teacher.
But then if you can learn from someone
else's experience, then you're smart.
Yes.
Yeah. Then you're smart.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that, Samuel. I mean, I don't know why at the time. I guess I was just kind of maybe being greedy, as it were. But I feel like if I was to go back anyways, and I knew I had the cash, I would have done that. Yeah,
because you could do it now, but if you did it now, you'd have already learned a lot of the stuff yourself.
Yes.
You know, not to say you shouldn't, but you've done it, but the hard way, but you've still made a success
the hard
of it.
way and the longer way.
Yeah, but still, man, a year, $7.5 grand profit a month is absolutely incredible. What has been the hardest thing you've had to go through, or the biggest mistake, the biggest challenge over the last year?
I think for me the hardest thing was just the changing of my mind. You know, changing of my mind towards failure. Like that was a hard thing to at the time I was 27, so I'd gone through my whole life, 27 years, thinking failure was a bad thing. Yeah. But then after reading after all your winners on a Wednesday, your success students, to be able to change your mind about a concept that's you've grown up with, was really hard. Yeah. Really, really hard. And that was my hardest challenge. As soon as I overcame that, doors started opening. Yeah.
Amazing. And you know what's really cool is you were inspired by all those Winners Wednesday stories, 100%. And probably if it wasn't for those stories,
probably wouldn't be here.
But now the fact that you're here, sat in my living room,
it's crazy. Yeah. Sorry.
I predict that there's going to be people that watch this,
hopefully,
that are inspired like you were inspired.
Hopefully,
that end up sat right there.
100%.
So,
I honestly, if it wasn't for Winners on a Wednesday and combined with a crash course, I definitely would not be here. 100%. I can say that absurd.
Well, dude, I'm so impressed. You've caught my attention.
Thank you, Sam.
And I look forward to. You've got a good heart. You're a good man, and I look forward to seeing you go on to do more things.
Thank you.
In my drop top, I need hung on. When I drop.